Hello, eighth graders. Today we are still on Module 4. Today we're doing Lesson 10, and we're going to be talking about constant rates of speed. And just to remind you that the constant rate for speed, or our our constant speed is going to equal our distance divided by our time. The easiest way to remember distance divided by time for speed is think of a speed limit sign. On the expressway, let's say or on the road, it says 35 miles per hour. So that tells you your distance over time. How many miles can you go in an hour? So distance over time will be our constant speed. So if we look at problem number 1, Iman walked from the store to her friend's house 2 miles away, and it takes her 35 minutes. What fraction represents her constant speed? So for part A, her constant speed, C, is going to be her distance, which is 2 miles, divided by her time, which is 35 minutes. So 2 miles over 35 minutes. Now, part B says, write the fraction where it represents her constant speed if she walks y miles in 10 minutes. So her distance is y, because that's the miles, y miles in 10 minutes. Part C, they want us to write a proportion comparing these two. So remember, a proportion to compare these two would look like this. Let me come down here to do part C. I'll do this in a different color. Sorry about this. Part C is going to be our first one, 2 miles and 35 minutes is equal to y miles in 10 minutes. Okay, so this is how you'd write a proportion comparing these two. Now to solve for y, we just did this a few lessons ago. What do? We do cross multiplication and solve for y. Our cross multiplication would look like this. 35 times y would be 35y equals 2 times 10 is 20. Then to solve for y, we have to divide by 35. And y is going to be 20 divided by 35. Now if we want, we can simplify this by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by 5. And y would be 4 over 7. Okay? And then for part D, they want us to write an equation in two variables. So our equation, they say write a two-variable equation how many miles we can walk on any time. So our distance is going to equal 4/7 times our time. 4/7 is our constant rate of speed. We multiply it by how many units of time we do, and that'll give us our units in distance. So y equals 4/7x, where 4/7 is our constant rate of speed. Let's go on to number 2. Erica drives from school to soccer practice 1.3 miles away, and it takes her 7 minutes. So for A, they want us to know our constant speed. So our constant speed, remember, is distance divided by time. Her distance is 1.3 miles, and her time is 7 minutes. For number 2, for B, What fraction represents her constant speed c if it takes her x minutes to go 1 mile? Remember, it's distance over time. So we know our distance is 1 mile, and our time is x minutes. Okay, so now they want us to, once again for C, write and solve a proportion using these two fractions. So for part C, we're going to say 1.3 over 7, which we got here, equals 1 over x. And now we need to solve this. So solve it, we do our cross multiplication. 1.3x equals 7. So x is going to be 7 over 1.3. And if we want, we can go to our calculator and go 7 divided by 1.3, and we get 5.38438. Well, you know what? They want us to round this to the nearest tenth. Round to the nearest tenth. So it would be 5.4. So x equals 5.4, meaning that to go 1 mile, it would take her 5.4 minutes. 5.4 minutes to go 1 mile. And for part D, once again, they want us to write the two variable equation. Part D, the two variable equation, y. Our distance is going to equal 5.4 times x. To go on to number 3. Darla drives at a constant speed of 45 miles per hour. How do we write her constant speed of 45 miles an hour? C is going to be 45 miles per 1 hour, which is just 45 miles per hour. Okay. So if she drives y miles and it takes her x hours, write the two variable equation to represent that. So if it takes her y miles for x hours, distance over time, that would be y over x, right? And we know that it is 45 over 1, because we got this from here, 45 over 1 equals y over x. Cross multiply. If we cross multiply this, we get y equals 45x. And this would be our equation, y equals 45x. Now, if Darla plans to drive 14 miles from her house, then to the post office 3 miles, and from the market, and then return home, which is 15 miles from the post office. Assuming she drives at a constant speed the entire time, how much time will she spend driving? So, if she goes 45 miles per hour, right? 45 miles for 1 hour, then how long will it take her to go 15 and 14 is 29 and 32, right? So we get 32 equals 45x. Notice how that relates to this. Okay. So now we divide by 45, and x equals 32 over 45. If we want, we can go to our calculator. 32 divided by 45. 7.1, oh, the nearest hundredths. So 7.11. Our answer, I'm sorry, 0.711. And so how much time is it going to take her? 0.711 of an hour. So almost 3/4 of an hour. Number 4. Let's go on to number 4. Tricky one here. Aaron walks from his sister's house to his cousin's house, a distance of 4 miles in 80 minutes. How far does he walk in 30 minutes? I'm going to tell you, we cannot answer this. And you're going to say, why not? Can't we say 4 miles in 80 minutes? So that would be a distance over time, right? Yeah, that's if he's walking at constant speed. Every other problem said a constant speed. Nowhere does this say it's a constant speed, so we don't know. He could have been, for 30 of these minutes, he could have been stopped talking to someone and just walking for 50 of the minutes. So there's no constant speed. It does not say anything about a constant speed, so therefore we cannot answer number 4. Our last one for today. So Carlos walks 4 miles every night. It takes exactly 63 minutes to finish his walk. Assuming he walks at a constant rate, there again we got the constant, we can answer that. Write an equation that represents how many miles he walks and why. So our rate is distance over time, right? So 4 over 63, 4 miles, 63 minutes, right? So y, our equation is going to be y, our total distance is going to be 4 over 63 times x. That's our equation. Y equals 4 over 63 times x. So now we got to take 15 and put it in the place of x. So I'm going to get y equals 4 over 63 times x, which is 15. We're going to make that 15 over 1, aren't we? Because we need to multiply. So 4 times 15 is 60. 63 times 1 is 63. So we have to go 60 divided by 63. 60 divided by 63. We're going to get 0.95. Y is going to be 0.95. So our next one, we have y equals 4/63 times x, and this time our x is 30. Our x is 30. So we're going to make it 30 over 1 to do the multiplication. 4 times 30 is 120, divided by 63. So I can come over here to my calculator. 120 divided by 63, and we're going to get 1.90, or just 1.9. The next one, if x is 40, we're going to get y equals 4 over 63 times 40. I'm going to make that over 1 so we can do our multiplication. Remember, we came up with our equation because this is our constant speed. So y equals 4 over 63x. So now we're multiplying this. 4 times 40 is 160. 63 times 1 is 63. So let's, oh boy, find my calculator here. Let's do this. Let's go 160 divided by 63, and we get 2.54. Notice we're going to take that 3 and make it a 4 because of the 9 next to it. 2.54. 2.54. Next one, remember, if you want, you can pause, try it yourself, then come back and see if you're doing it right, which I'm sure you are. For our next one, y is going to equal 4 over 63 times 60, and we're going to make that 60 over 1 for our multiplication. 4 times 60 is 240, and 63 times 1 is 63. So let's come over here. 240 divided by 63. It's going to be 3.81. We're going to take that 0, make it a 1 because of this 9. 3.81. 3.81. And our last one, if it is 75, y is going to equal 4 over 63 times 75 over 1. 4 times 75 is 300. Divided by 63. Go to the calculator. 300 divided by 63. And that's going to be 4.76. 4.76. So we know that he can go 0.95 miles in 15 minutes, 1.9 miles in 30 minutes, 2.54 miles in 40 minutes, 3.81 miles in 60 minutes, and 4.76 miles in 75 minutes. Have a good day.